Top 10 Creepy Things Happening Inside China. Hi guys, this is Sean here. Today we are going to look at 10 creepy things that are happening inside China. If you like our video then do drop a like, or if you would like to share your thoughts on the video then comment below. Feel free to click on subscribe button and press the bell icon. China is old and delightful. Be that as it may, cherry blooms and the Great Wall aside, the nation's freakiest issues could hurt its own populace, the universal network, and even unborn sacrosanct leaders. There is a frightening motivation behind why China is never shy of organ benefactors. Its social point framework is additionally straight out of a tragic novel. A few secrets are similarly frightening. No one knows why the administration stays close-lipped regarding a dangerous infection, or what happened the day when American ambassadors encountered an unusual assault on Chinese soil. 10. The J-20 fighter jet. China gave one gander at an American military aircraft, the F-22 Raptor, and chose to counter it. Enter the J-20. For quite a while, the stealth airplane was planned and tried covertly. In 2018, it turned out onto the landing area for the viewing pleasure of anyone passing by. The response to the Raptor was at long last battle-ready. The vile emanation encouraged during its cryptic beginnings was absent. All the more effectively, somewhat postponed. A lot of WS-15 motors should make it equivalent or superior to the F-22. Rather, after a blast during a ground test in 2015, the motors were avoided from the plane's structure. This implies while China's most recent stream is operational and competent, it can't yet snarl at the F-22. For the time being, the J-20 flies with more vulnerable motors until the WS-15 issue is sifted through. This could take a couple of years, yet the airplane stays unique. A variety of weaponry arms this mammoth, making it China's best protection against the stealth planes of the US. 9. Most new pharmaceuticals are fake. In 2016, the Chinese government examined the most recent pharmaceutical medications. The examination included 1,622 clinical preliminaries. The outcomes were disturbing. Over 80% of the information was fake. Records about symptoms had been erased. Data was manipulated until it demonstrated that the medications worked. Other data was fragmented or missing. Numerous items were not by any means new. Rather, some simply blended existing meds. The deceptive nature ran throughout. Researchers, pharma organizations, labs, and authorities were involved. This undesirable system was not absolutely inspired by greed. Pharmaceutical representatives are feeling the squeeze to deliver historic work or risk getting terminated. 8. Presidential enemy, Winnie the Pooh. A great deal of things we underestimate are obstructed in China. In 2017, Winnie the Pooh joined the special club. Pooh didn't embrace the Dalai Lama. His horrendous crime? Chinese residents began to refer President Xi Jinping with the notable bear. Revenge was quick. Pooh was prohibited from Chinese web-based life and his stickers were expelled from most apps. China's elite lack humor. They can't stand humor. 7. Mysterious breed-ready list. In 2019, a Dutch researcher unearthed a database in China. The database held the private data of 1.8 million Chinese ladies. More importantly, the database had their telephone numbers and places of residence, a stalker's fantasy, yet it additionally gave every individual a breed-ready status. 6. The Electromagnetic Rail Gun. China's most recent maritime toy is an electromagnetic railgun. Spotted for the first time in 2011, it utilizes electromagnetic vitality rather than traditional black powder to fire. Inconceivably, the power shoots shots at 2.6 kilometers every second, 1.6 miles per second. This sort of capability is sufficient to give other countries the creeps. Be that as it may, China isn't fulfilled. U.S. safeguard sources guarantee that the Chinese needs a warship with electromagnetic railguns that can hit an objective at 200 kilometers, 124 miles, away, by 2025. 5. Reincarnation must obey Chinese laws. The world may see two Dalai Lamas living simultaneously. This comment originated from the present Buddhist pioneer during a meeting, in 2019. The 83-year-old was picked for this lifted-up position when he was 2 years of age. For as long as 60 years, the Dalai Lama lived in India after he fled the Chinese in his local Tibet. Recently, Beijing said that his resurrection must agree to their laws. It's called the New Regulations on Religious Affairs and the Rules on the Management of the Reincarnation of Tibetan Living Buddhas. According to this regulation, China reserves the right to approve the selection of the child destined to be the next Dalai Lama. The Dalai Lama knows how dangerous this is. His successor would be under the influence of China's Communist Party, which persecutes most religions. Moreover, in 1995, the Dalai Lama identified a youngster as the resurrection of the Panchen Lama. This position is simply the second most noteworthy position. The Chinese government took the 6-year-old Tibetan kid into custody. And nobody saw that kid again. 4. Dystopian credit system. Imagine not having the option to ride a train or get fast treatment at an emergency clinic. The explanation? You need enough government credits. In 2018, China launched a surveillance and monitoring system not at all like anything the world had ever seen. Called the social credit system, a score is given to each resident and business. A positive score is reinforced by things like paying bills on time, recycling things appropriately and doing good cause. Advantages of good credit system is that you get less expensive travel rates, better credit and shorter holding up periods at a clinic. Individuals can lose points for smoking in illegal zones, jaywalking or failing to pay the bills on time. One writer, Lu Hu, announced government's tyranny and was scored as dishonest. He was denied access to public transport, his web accounts were shut down and his vocation was crushed. 3. Sonic attacks. In 2017, American representatives positioned in Cuba became sick. The puzzling conditions encompassing the occasion, which many suspect was a sonic assault, soured relations among Cuba and the US. At a certain point, every Cuban ambassador were kicked out of the States. A reality that got less consideration was that during that year, and a couple of months into 2018, something very similar occurred in China. American representatives positioned in Guangzhou began hearing amusing clamors. This was trailed by parting migraines and sleep deprivation. 2. China is hogging a lethal virus. The United States and China had an understanding. Ever since the H7N9 bird flu was first detected in China in 2013, samples would be provided to the US on a regular basis. Initially, things went swell. China shared the new flu strains and all related data. Over time, communication deteriorated until the samples stopped. China's refusal is a disaster waiting in the wings. H7N9 has a 40% fatality rate. If that is not terrifying enough, the strain keeps evolving. American scientists need to follow and understand this shape-shifting to protect people from a pandemic. Worst, China experienced 2 bumper infections in the meantime, in 2016 and 2017. Should this virus hogging continue, many scientists fear that it could lead to an international crisis and countless deaths. 1. A terrifying organ trade. China is known for its efficiency. However, some fields cannot produce zippy results without causing suspicion. For instance, every country struggles with the number of patients needing organ transplants. There are not enough donors. Most people wait for years to replace a defective organ. In China, the period is more like weeks. In 2016, around 640 organs were transplanted. This sounds normal until you check the facts. All 640 operations occurred over a period of 10 days. The official donors were listed as 30 individuals, which runs to an impossible 21 body parts harvested per person. In the past, China plucked organs from prisoners without their permission. The country claimed to have abandoned this practice. But in 2019, a tribunal interviewed witnesses and combed through records. They found that the forced harvesting was still very much alive. One doctor testified that he was ordered to remove the kidneys from a prisoner who had been shot in the head. He performed the operation while the man was still alive and struggling. Criminals are not the only targets. The so-called dissidents, or people arrested because they catch the government's dislike, are also slaughtered like cattle. Among them are ethnic minorities, and especially hard-hit are the members of a spiritual movement called Falun Gong. If you like this video, then do share it with your friend, and as always, stay safe and become awesome.